No, you start.
No, you start. Yes, I start. Welcome. We've done this before. Welcome to the Real Shift Show. I'm Anna Crowe.
I'm Katy Temple.
And the Real Shift Show is a show that Katy and I created for talking all things change with dynamic entrepreneurs, athletes, entertainers, you name it.
What small, medium, large shifts have they made to get closer to their authentic selves? And how can we learn from them so that we can be inspired and make those small shifts that we need? And today we are with somebody that's made a lot of shifts. Our guest, some of you may know already, is Jeff Francoeur. Early on in his rookie season as a Major League Baseball player, this guy was on the cover of Sports Illustrated with the words, "The Natural," no expectations there. Then he played for 12 years as a Major League Baseball player. He is now doing broadcasting Tuesday Night Baseball on TBS. He also co-hosts his own podcast called Pure Athlete, and he co-hosts it with two other gentlemen. And the idea there is to give a platform to coaches and parents to discuss the challenges and the triumphs of youth sports. He's got 4 kids. He married his high school sweetheart, so that is a lot of shifts.
That's a lot of shifts.
Jeff, you know I love seeing you, and I'm wondering, now that you are all grown up and mature, and we're talking about shifts, and you know that you're going to be on this, the Real Shift Show, what comes to your mind?
We've known each other for 21 years now. I'm 42. And, when I was 21 as a rookie in baseball, you think you're going to play forever, right? I don't think about what's coming, the different things. And now it's like, holy crap, here we are 21 years later. I got 4 kids, 12, 10, 7, 5. I tell people this, baseball was one of the best parts of my life, but it's such a small part of my life. It was when you look at it, if I lived to be 80, it's what, 12, 13% of my life was playing baseball in the big leagues. What are you going to do with the other 87%? And so, for me, I think the shift has been good. There's challenges, there's struggles, but man, it's been a fun ride.
And you've had a fun ride. I mean, think about that perspective. For you, when you were playing baseball, you're from Atlanta, you played for the Atlanta Braves, drafted by them, Gold Glove Award, all these things, and now you're saying that it's such a small part of your life. How can you reflect upon that?
I have great parents. Dave and Karen were in school for my dad was an administrator for 38 years in DeKalb County schools here in Atlanta. My mom was a middle school teacher for 26, took some time off to raise me, my brother, my sister. But so we grew up with discipline, right? And I talk about this a lot on my podcast, right? The priorities these days seem to kind of be off for a lot of people. My priorities coming up was God was going to be first. Second was going to be our family dynamic. And third was school. And sports was fourth. And I've learned lessons the hard way. I've missed games in high school because my dad pulled me out. I'm trying to do that with my kids, but we live in such a crazy world where the dynamics almost got flipped upside down now. And all this other stuff is trying to distract from what's most important, living a life of significance and impact. And what does that look like? I don't think that's making the most money you can. I think it's trying to help people. It's trying to be the best coach you can be, the best father, the best person I can be. I mean, you know it. I was on the front of Sports Illustrated. I also had to play in El Paso Chihuahuas after 9.5 years in the big leagues. You can live on top of the mountain one day and you can be in the valley the next day.
Well, you're also speaking to almost a shift in your why or a mindset shift, right? So physically, you're doing different things today than you were 21 years ago, but I'm guessing your why and this level of significance of what you're thinking about has evolved as well. Is that safe to say?
I was a yes guy. I'm a people pleaser. I do. And now in the last 3-4 years, I've had to totally shift that. And I'm sure I've left people disappointed or not being able to do this or help out with this. But my family's become my priority, raising my 4 kids. My mom and dad were there for everything for us. They were around all the time at every game, every school thing we did. And so I wanted to do that for my kids. So about 3 years ago, I made the choice to step back from announcing with the Braves. I still do about 25 games all at home because I love it. But doing the Tuesday night game of the week, it took me away. Monday night I fly, I do the game Tuesday night. and I'm back home Wednesday by 10 a.m. And it gives me a chance to be dad and to be husband to Katy. Like my wife put up with a lot of crap for years and being a single mother, going to weddings by herself. And like, I don't want to miss that anymore.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that you have almost a timestamp that you're speaking to, the before and the today.
Yeah.
And being a dad of 4, how has becoming a dad just changed your view on life in general?
Well, all the selfishness that you have goes away. And I have said that for years. So I retired and we had 2 kids at home and Katy was pregnant with a third. And like I had never had this time in my life, right? Like I could do whatever I wanted. I had nothing all day. And I'm a big golfer like that. I love to golf. And so I played in like 5 or 6 member guest tournaments where I was gone like every other weekend. And finally, the summer of 17, my wife was like, yeah, this is going to get nipped in the butt. Like this can't happen. And I'm like, you're right. I can't be doing this. Like I've already told Katy, we're going to be empty nesters at 55. Like we're going to go to Italy. We're going to travel the world and have a blast. But in where we are right now, like for the next 10 to 15 years of our life, it is going to be engaging with our 4 kids and trying to get them ready to send them off to college and in the real world.
It is such a good point about Katy. I know Katy, for the audience, obviously, is his wife as well. But again, high school sweethearts. And then when you're playing baseball, you gotta be all in because of the travel and the.
Yeah.
For people out there that don't know, the baseball schedule is the worst in professional
sports. It sucks. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
I mean, 162 games, right? And you're gone sometimes, 12 days at a time, 3 cities.
And then when you are home, you're at the field by 1:30. So it's like, you're sleeping till 10 o'clock. So it's like there's never a break. There really isn't.
Jeff, you're managing a family of, 4 children and you're still traveling and you're doing things. What did you do for yourself to be able to show up and be present with everyone that comes into your life on a daily basis?
One of the great stories that I tell, and I might get choked up telling this, so I'm sorry, but my dad's my hero. And when I was done playing, there was like a week we were at the beach, and me and my dad loved the beach. Like we were out in the ocean having a beer, just talking. And I said, Dad, all the great things I've done in sports, like what was your favorite moment? And I, played in the World Series. I had 4 walk-off home runs. My dad would surprise me every year and come on the road to watch me play. And he would not tell me where he was coming, but he would be in the outfield and he would buy his own ticket. And during BP, I would just hear, hey, Francoeur, you suck. And I knew it was my dad, right? Like I'd turn around and there's my dad. But he said, what my favorite moment was? I came to Cincinnati. You had a horrible game. Y'all lost. You popped up with the bases loaded to end the game. And after the game, all these guys just got on the bus and walked by all these kids. And I saw you stop and sign for 15 minutes for like 100 kids. And I'm not saying I'm perfect because I'm sure there's times I got on the bus, but he was like, at that point, I knew I had raised a good man, sports aside. And so I get thinking, I'm like, when I coach my kids now, right? As much as I love to see them do great, make baskets, hit balls in the gap, score a touchdown, seeing them help another person or help a kid their age, that's what lights you up, right? Like that's what gets me excited to know that my kids are starting to figure it out. Doing that and waking up and being able to spread joy in someone's life, like that means a lot to me.
It's a beautiful thing just to see that you're all in the same area and that he and your mom can watch that the way that you're raising the kids and you still have all of that consistency and those lessons that are still there. But tell me about, because you're a very competitive guy. So like Anna said, whenever you walk in the room, it lights up and you make everybody feel better. The insecure, the quiet, the shy. That's one of your gifts. So I would love to hear some of the conversations between you and your kids when you're obviously playful and full of energy and you want to win. How do you have those conversations with the kids?
It's funny, and doing this podcast has been great for me with youth sports because it's changed my outlook. Like my daughter's 12 now. She's starting to really fully grasp, like the more work I put in, the better I'm going to get. It's her journey. So I'm going to push sometimes like, hey, let's go run. Let's go hit some. Let's go do these things. But you got to check yourself, right? Like my kids aren't built like me, right? Like they're different than me. Now, doesn't mean that I can't push them to work and get better, but also realizing like I want to push more into them growing a passion for something and loving it. It's been a cool dynamic shift for me. My son, who's 10, he hates baseball. I'm like, how in the world does that happen? I'm actually an assistant coach in lacrosse because I want him to know that it matters to me. Just because you don't play baseball,
Yeah.
and like I did, I want it to matter. You should see me on the lacrosse field. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but I'm called the hustle police. For me, it's like this is Braden's journey, right? He plays football, he plays basketball, and he plays lacrosse. But you know what? Lacrosse has been an awesome bond. We threw the lacrosse ball for 30 minutes in the backyard yesterday. Like, so it's meeting your kids where they're at in that moment. And I think that could be for us too, right? It doesn't matter if you're 50 years old. You know, I did some speaking stuff, and Katy, she helped me understand with people no different at 55 years old running a business, they struggle with insecurities and these things. So it's like, it's finding a way to meet people where they're at in whatever realm of life you're at. This is my calendar. Look, I'm old school.
I love it.
So you going on today?
You can see I have down on the bottom
best.
Katy Temple. But I have a quote up at the top on each month. And right here, it says, the goal is not perfection, it's awareness and adjustment. This is where we get it wrong. Everybody's scared to fail these days. Who cares? Fail. That's how you learn how to do it. I tell my kids all the time, you strike out. I don't care. But get back to the dugout, keep your head held high, and figure out a way to do it better next time.
You spent 12 years in the majors plus playing minor league ball in a sport that the success rate is 300, right?
You're getting a hit, 2.5 out of 10 times. I mean, you're failing constantly. And if you can't live with that, if you can't, I don't say accept it, right? Like continue to get better in whatever you do. But if you can't figure out a way to come to terms with it, to get better, it's going to ruin your life.
Okay, so Pure Athlete, you've got 4 kids all involved in playing sports, and Pure Athlete is a podcast. You co-host it with 2 gentlemen, and you are diving in, have guests all about youth sports. Why did you start it?
Because I saw such a need as I got into coaching Little League to see these parents not have the information and the way to go about it to know. Like I saw the struggles of, you got to be more. You got to do more. I mean, it's 28 degrees here in Atlanta right now. I actually have parents text me, are we practicing? And I'm like, I ain't standing out there in that shit. You want to stand out there in that? Go ahead. Like, no, they're 7 years old. I'm not doing this. But my point is like, one thing I loved about sports for me, it teaches discipline. It teaches hard work. And we got that from sports, but so many of these parents, you know how it is. My kid's 10 years old. What does he need to do to get a college scholarship? And I'm like, go to the pool, have fun. And we're taking the joy out of sports for kids. Every year, my team, you can ask at the local Buford Park, we're 1-9, 2-8 every year because we have fun. I move the girls and boys all over the field. No one ever hits last. They're freaking 6, 7. They don't get it. They don't understand. They just want to have fun. They don't even know if we've won. After the game, they always, did we win? And I just say, yep, guys, we won.
Great job.
Like they don't know. They don't know.
Completely relate having kids in different sports and being on the sidelines throughout the week and on the weekend. And, you reminded me of when my oldest son was 4 and started to play soccer, and we're like, oh, first game. Meanwhile, they're just all attacking this ball. Yeah. And there's just a bunch of kids in the middle and then some kids on the sides picking flowers.
Oh, yeah.
Looking in the sky.
Yeah.
And I look at it because when Emma Kate, my oldest, was 6 years old, I went to her first T-ball softball game, and I was like, Katy, we have the worst player ever as our daughter. He sucks. She can't hit, she can't run, do this. But you know what? Now, all of a sudden, she's 12, and she's a great player because she grew to love the sport. And then she got it, and she started working. And so I'm always like, at these young ages, man, like, that's why, one of my favorite we had on the podcast was Julie Foudy, and I've always been a huge fan of hers. And she said something so prevalent, and it woke me with, she had a coach tell her daughter she had to miss her prom in high school because they were having a practice. And Julie's like, not only did I tell the coach off, I told my daughter, like, you're going to prom. And I'm like, we're getting to where we're telling people to miss their prom in high school for a freaking practice or a game. I don't care if it was one game. My thing is just bringing awareness to these parents that more is not always better. And that, and I got checked on that because, like I said, I coached my son in baseball, and me and him were just fighting tooth and nail. My wife was finally like, you ever thought maybe he doesn't like playing? And Eventually, one day, I asked him that question. He's like, "Yeah, I don't want to play. I didn't want to hurt your feelings." That's
Yeah.
what he said. So he basically played for two
Fair.
years because he
Yeah.
was scared to tell me. And I'm like, shame on me, man. Like,
Yeah.
shame on me for not noticing that.
But that's a big shift, Jeff, when you think about it. I mean, that's a big,
Oh, when you talk about, because I love to compete. Like, I have, as a coach, I have lost. I probably lose 75% of the time in any sport with my kids. But you know what? The kids are having a blast. They love it and they're developing. So, like, my whole thought process with this is like wins and losses at that age don't mean anything. They truly don't. And it's
yeah.
like, are they loving the game and are they working at it? Now, we have a shirt for my 12U daughters team, and it says fun is the first word, the second word is develop, and the third word is compete. Not win but compete. If you learn those three things and you start really wanting to compete, you will win plenty of games by doing those three
You,
things.
you talked a little bit earlier about it because you don't want to, you don't want to push them too hard so then they don't
Yeah,
want to play anymore. Can you teach passion or can you teach the love of a sport?
I think you can develop it. I really do, because my son's 10. He loves video games, right? Like, loves them. Wants to come home and play Madden with his buddies. But I also know he loves lacrosse, like when we're out there doing it. So I've had to kind of develop a pattern that when you get home from school, you got to spend 15, 20 minutes doing some ball drills against our wall downstairs. Like, my kid comes home now, he does this stuff, and then, hey, let's go play video games or do whatever.
Well, and also nowadays, I don't know where you are with devices and other things, but there's just so much other stuff that kids could be doing. Like 20 years ago, we didn't have phones.
Right.
So going outside and playing with the ball or whatever it is, it's just like, it's fun. I got dopamine. I'm excited. Now I'm like, well, I can play this game and I'm going to be just as happy or happier. Right. So to your point, we do have to have a little bit of, let's create the discipline, the practice, the whatever. And perhaps from there you develop the love.
You talk about parenting decisions. Like, my daughter's 12, she don't have a phone. We haven't given her a
Amazing.
phone. All her friends do, and I just tell her, I'm like, you can hate me, you can tell me I suck, I don't care. You're not getting a phone yet. I'm protecting yourself,
Great.
the things that your mind's seeing on there, and for her to start understanding what guys are looking for in girls. Like, I try to let Katie deal with that a little bit, but sometimes I have to step in too. Like, hey, I was a 12-year-old boy once. Like, I'm protecting you from yourself. And we've done that with our softball team. Like, at tournaments, sometimes right after our first game, you'll see like 12 girls like this on their phones. And you have to really fight back with that. And I feel bad for them because we did not have to deal with that, right? Like, we didn't. But you know what? Emma Kate now, she hasn't asked us one time in probably the last 8 months for a cell phone. She hasn't.
What age does she get one?
We've talked about at 13 giving her one, but more for contact. No
Yeah.
social media, nothing with that. Like, that she can text some of her friends, grandparents, whoever, but she's going to have no social media. If it's up to me, until she goes away to college, to be
I
honest with you.
know.
I hate social media. There's so many great things about it, but it's giving our kids a false sense of reality.
I was at a high school orientation, and one of the principals said that when parents post photos of their kids, especially from like 10 to 18, without the kids' approval, it creates a lot of anxiety for them, because there are photos of them out there with context and people they know can see it.
Yeah.
And so they get stressed out. And it's just such an interesting dilemma, because it's for really positive reasons, or to connect with family. But I hadn't even thought about the teens and the tweens having anxiety
Right.
around their images being out there without their consent.
Right.
I couldn't agree more. And we talk a lot on the podcast about mental health today, because it never gets talked about. And then if someone does, it's like, hey, it's used as a crutch, you didn't do this or didn't do that. But this is what I say, right? Y'all remember being middle school, like, you spent all day at school trying to fit in, right? There's anxiety to that. Sports was our outlet,
Yep.
or an after school activity was your chance to, man, go free your mind, do this. Now it's like school gets done. I have an hour hitting lesson. I have an hour shooting lesson. I got 3.5 hours of gymnastics 4 days a week from 6 to 9:30. And my question is, where's your kid getting a rest?
So tell us about what you've learned about Katy over the years and her role as your best friend from high school. You've known her forever, her support. What have you learned about her?
Well, that she really loves me if she's still sticking around at home today, right? I mean, she is a great mother. She's a great wife, but like, her support in my journey and what she did, I think the cool thing, we're very honest with each other. She tells the hard truth. And I tell this story all the time. When I went back to AAA and I'm playing awful because I'm mad, I feel bad for myself. I'm like, why am I not in the big leagues? Why am I here? And we went to dinner that night and like she flat told me, she was like, look, if you're going to suck and not care, like come home. We have this beautiful house at home. We have all this stuff and I'm in a 1-bedroom apartment with a 9-month-old in El Paso, Texas. Like, she brought such a different perspective. Like, instead of me feeling sorry for myself, she's like, you have a bunch of kids on this team that are wondering, what's it like to play in the big leagues? How do I get there? What do I need to do? And you're missing a chance to impact these kids. Like, they're wanting anything from you to talk to them, to say. And so it shifted the whole narrative to how I was thinking. Instead of thinking about myself, I started thinking like, how can I make these guys better? How can I do this? And the coolest thing was when I got called up back to the big leagues, the whole team had like a champagne toast and they doused me with champagne. And they were so excited for me because I'd been pouring into them for 3.5 months. And so she has always brought a perspective that I don't see a lot of the time.
Sometimes you can say something that doesn't seem significant to a younger person. Yeah. Because it's part of your vernacular or you just take it for granted or whatever it is, but it shifts everything for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's the tough truths, right? It's being truthful with each other. Like my wife was a great writer. She was an English teacher. And when I kind of got done, she kept looking like it's always been about you. So she has started we went through 4 miscarriages. We had a lot of trouble getting pregnant. And so she's starting to talk a lot about infertility, the loss, what it does to a woman and stuff. And it has been great to see her shine in that outlet and help a lot of people.
All right, my final question. It's not a 3-parter. It's just one.
Show off.
You gave us some really good nuggets around discipline and progress. And we always love to leave our viewers and listeners with some takeaway, some tactic they can implement. Can you give us some, maybe it's a tool you use, maybe it's another different type of mantra of how you deal with change?
I'll say this. I think change is one of the scariest things, right? It plays mind tricks. The ups and downs, the struggles you might have to go. But how many times in your life, and for me in baseball, being traded to different teams when I didn't want to be, and then it becomes the best thing that's ever happened to you. It's one of the things I talk about in my speech is like, we have to embrace change. Katy knows it. I'm not the biggest analytical guy. Like, I'm not. But 90% of my viewers that listen when I announce, they love talking about launch angle, exit velocity, and all these things that come with baseball. So I've had to adapt. I've had to embrace how I do it. But you know what's funny is you do that and it might be scary. You might be like, I'm worried to do this. I'm worried to do that. And then you look back in 6 months and you're like, holy crap, I don't know where I'd be if I did not take that risk. And if it doesn't work out every once in a while, that's going to happen. It's life. And you're changing for a reason. So you weren't happy to begin with. Right. So what's the difference if you do change and it doesn't work out? Like, you got to be able to adapt and take risk.
So go for it.
Go for
Just
it.
Do it.
Go for it, man. That's what I always say. Like, and I love how you talk about it. Be authentic, right? Like, be who you are. Don't be afraid to be who you are. And if people don't like it, oh well.
Okay, so for our audience, Jeff Francoeur, pureathlete.com, for parents and coaches that want to learn from some of the best about how to manage the challenges and the triumphs of youth sports. And for you baseball fans who like to talk about the launch angle, every Tuesday night during baseball season, he is an analyst for TBS. So tune in. He's great. He's got the knowledge, he's got the experience, and he has fun with it, as you can tell.
I will. And we already got our schedule, and the first Tuesday night of the year, and my travel's not bad, but I got to huff all the way from Atlanta to Seattle. So I got the longest flight you could possibly have. And I'm like, oh boy, there'll be a few cocktails on that bird.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us. And for everyone tuning in, as a reminder, I'm Anna.
I'm Katy.
And until we meet again, go make real shift happen.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, we want to hear what you think of what Jeff said. We want you to comment on what inspired you, what you thought about, what shifts you might make from the shifts that he's made. We want to know how you're doing.